Welcome to Prepper Nation. I am John. Thank you very much for being here this morning, for hitting like, for hitting subscribe, all the YouTubey stuff. It's truly appreciated. Also, Marilyn Rhodes, thank you for this morning's coffee. Marilyn Rhodes, click the link down below. She sponsored this morning's coffee. It is the first of the day. So this is going to be a rough video, Marilyn, but I appreciate it. Tomorrow we should be live here on YouTube. Now, the time may be a little wonky. It may not be exactly at 9:15. I got to see what parent pickup / drop off looks like because, again, first day of school in Surrey County tomorrow. Anyway, we should be live tomorrow. This morning, I want to talk about the one issue that is going to end up sacking the United States of America. I mean, there are a lot of issues going on, right? You're going to get that when you've got Joe Biden calling the shots, or Joe Biden's puppeteers, I should say, calling the shots. So it's going to be very hard to do this morning, but I want you to forget, just for the next 5 minutes or so, forget about a few things here in the United States. Forget about the threat of nukes. I think the threat of nukes is a possibility, but again, suspend your worries about the nukes for 5 minutes. The medical tyranny that we have faced in the past, and guess what, folks? We're going to face it once again. It is coming soon. We may actually talk about that tomorrow morning. Forget about that for 5 minutes. Forget about World War III and the ramp up of World War III. For those that have left comments saying, hey, John, don't forget about Iran, I have not forgotten about Iran and also the chaos taking place in Africa. It's truly going to be a world war. But forget about that for 5 minutes, okay? Inflation, food inflation, especially, and inflation when it comes to utilities, at least in my area. But even I'm going to forget about that for the next 5 minutes. Hard to do, but I'm going to do it. And the imminent banking collapse that is on the way, that a lot of people are talking about, and again, rightfully so. Forget about all of that stuff for the next 5 minutes. Like a hat, just hang it there for 5 minutes, all right? I want to talk about our southern border this morning because I think the issues that we have at our southern border by themselves are enough to sack the United States of America without all of the other stuff that we have going on. If everything else in Joe's America was perfect, and again, trust me, I know they're not by a long shot, but if they were perfect, we are still going to fall as the United States of America. It's just a matter of time. So on August 31st of this year, the Pentagon intends to pull 1,100 troops off of the southern border, National Guard, and put them elsewhere. I don't know if they haven't announced yet. Maybe they're going home for a little while. Maybe they're getting deployed to Poland. Who knows? But 1,100 troops are going to be pulled off of the southern border, when I would argue we actually need a lot more National Guard at our southern border. And the reason that they are doing this is Washington is excited. This is why we're going to be sacked as a country. All right, y'all can quote me on that. DC is excited because illegal encounters have dropped to 144,000 a month. Dropped. So they're like, you know what? Illegal numbers are down. We can finally celebrate. We can bring our troops home from Texas, so to speak, so we can send them more than likely over to the war in Europe or Taiwan or wherever. The Middle East now it's looking like, or Africa. 144,000, that's a lot of illegal encounters. To me, this number is bad. All right, this is not a good number. DC's they're hanging their hat on it. They're saying, we have done a great job here. But there are two issues. Number one, again, 144,000 a month is a huge number if you were trying to maintain borders of a nation. And second, this is just the encounters that we know about. These are the illegals that we know about. There are a lot more than 144,000 a month coming across the border. And DC goes on, the Pentagon goes on to say they're seeing a shifting trend. Illegals aren't coming to Texas so much anymore. That has shifted over now to Arizona. They're seeing an uptick in Arizona. Again, I don't know why this is good news. They're still getting into the country, but they're so proud of themselves for only allowing 144,000 or so, because again, who knows what the actual number is, into the country. And to me, it doesn't matter if they're coming through Texas or Arizona. I'm sure it does to folks in Texas and Arizona, right? But I'm just saying they're still getting into the country. What's the difference here? This one issue will bankrupt the United States of America from within. This is the Trojan horse that continues to come in. You know, y'all know the story of the Trojan horse. They come in, they take over, basically. This is month after month after month after month for years and years now with zero end in sight. Just a Trojan horse every single month. This is why I'm constantly on here saying, you know, we could see boots on the ground. We could see the Chinese try and pull something like that off. We were just talking about the Aleutian Islands in Alaska, but I'm constantly on here saying, no, our enemies don't need to invade us, you know, because our leaders in DC are doing a good job of sacking the country themselves. All they have to do is leave Joe Biden alone. Hand him a few extra crayons and let him create the masterpiece that he's creating. And to be fair, this was an issue prior to Joe Biden. They seem to care a whole lot less about it, but previous presidents, even conservative ones, allowed it to happen. It's not like too many people were stepping in and doing something about it. Trump did try to put a wall up that was not funded by Mexico. Sorry, Trump voters. But he was at least trying to do something about it. And of course, he got called bad names for it. Our leaders are sacking the United States of America in much the same way Roman leaders sacked ancient Rome. Border patrol facilities are overrun. These things, so it's a band-aid. Anyway, these facilities are band-aids. They have these huge fences set up. You come here, we'll take care of you until we figure out what to do with you, essentially. Now, I know in Texas, in the case of Texas, Abbott has been loading people on buses. He's like, look, here, this is your problem. This is your problem. We'll fly them to Martha's Vineyard. We're going to send them all over the place. And at first, I'll admit it, at first that was comical to me, to see these illegals show up in New York City and the folks in New York who were beating the drum of illegal immigration having zero idea what to do about it. But it became less comical when I began to realize, hey, all we're doing is fast tracking it. When we do that, when we send them deeper into the United States, I mean, we're taking the Trojan horse, we're moving it from Texas to New York, from Texas to wherever, San Francisco, for example. It's not helping fix the problem. And getting back to the border facilities for a second, they're completely swamped. They're understaffed, they're underfunded, they're completely out of room at this point. And the American taxpayer is paying for everything. We're paying for the food, we're paying for the water, we're paying for the medical care, which, by the way, is actually better than what our veterans are receiving here in the United States, which is sad to me. And now recently, I've seen trail cam footage and photos and things that people are putting on social media. A little bit of this hit mainstream media. You know how it goes, for a few hours, and then everybody got amnesia, right? Trail cam footage of illegals now coming across the southern border. I think what I saw is in Texas, and they're armed. They're carrying rifles, and they're saying these people are coming over. Cartels and things are sending these people across. How can you sneak into a country, break the law, come in with a rifle, and be here for good reason? You know what I'm saying? The counter argument to this, and I promise you, I'm going to see some of this in the comments. Well, you're dehumanizing people. You're supposed to be a Christian. These people need help. These people are sneaking into the country. They are armed sometimes to the teeth when they get here. How can this be a good thing? As a citizen of the United States, I'm sitting back here thinking, how can this be a good thing? How can we allow this to continue and remain a country? And the thing is, it's not sustainable. We cannot continue to allow this if we're going to remain a country. 10 years from now, if this is allowed to continue, we will not be the United States in the way that you and I remember the United States of America. We're going to be something totally different. Now, is it still going to be called the United States of America? I don't know. Will it be called something else? I don't know. 10 years from now, if this is allowed to continue, I'm doubting that we're still going to be a constitutional republic. I'm doubting that we're not going to be full-blown socialism or even communism at some point. A recent Yale study, because they said, we're seeing about 11 million so far. The government put out numbers, the official numbers. They said, we've got about 11 million illegals here in the United States. We don't know what to do about it. A recent Yale study, and this was done back, I think, at the beginning of June, said that number is actually twice as much. 22 million people that are here that are not supposed to be here. That's a huge number. 22 million people are here illegally. This is not including DACA, just so you know. This is DACA. Those are folks that were brought here as very small children, had nothing to do with it. They've been essentially, although illegally, they've been Americans their entire life. They don't know any other lifestyle, okay? That's not including those folks. Yale, the study done at Yale, they're saying 22 million people have actively snuck into the United States, and they're being fully cared for now. These people don't have a social security number, but they're collecting food stamps. They're getting free insurance via Medicaid. They're getting all the benefits that the working poor or the poor here in the United States would get, and they're not even citizens. You understand what I'm saying? So it's speculation on my part, but looking at this Yale study and seeing our government, again, hanging their hat on that low number of, oh man, what was it, 144,000 a month. I think it's probably twice that. I think we're probably seeing 250,000 people sneak into this country illegally. Again, speculation on my part. But if we have twice as many illegals here that the government knows about, there are probably twice as many illegals sneaking in each month. You understand? I'm trying to connect the dots here. So I'm going to ask you this this morning, Prepper Nation, because I know we're from all 50 states and even outside the United States here at Prepper Nation. Have you had an encounter? I've heard a couple of horror stories. People will message on Patreon and tell me, but leave a comment. If you've had an encounter with illegal aliens, if you're in an area, please don't throw your physical address down or anything, but, just say, hey, I'm in Arizona. I had this encounter. I'm in New Mexico. I'm in Texas. This is what I've seen. This is what's going on here. This is what's not being reported about. Not only so I can see it, because I do see all of the comments, but so everybody else here at Prepper Nation can actually see what's going on, because people that, especially in the northern part of the United States, they only see what they see on social media and mainstream media. And a lot of us do not see it day to day like folks in Texas and Arizona, for example, see it. So if you've had one of these encounters, or you live in an area where it's a huge issue right now, please let us know in the comments, and we'll discuss it some tomorrow morning during the live stream as well. Thank you very much for being here again, Marilyn Rhodes. Thank you for the coffee, ma'am, and God bless.